Hello guys, welcome to Sim UK. This is a first look review at IASystems HS2. The HS2 that I'm reviewing today is a development model and should not be confused with the HS2 Pro. The HS2 Pro is available for purchase today and comes with additional switchgear and twice as many digital inputs. I've had the HS2 in my possession for almost a month now and I've completely fallen in love with it. It has totally transformed my simulation experience for the better. Though I'm not a day-to-day biker. I thought it would be interesting to see how someone who is a day-to-day biker but not into simulators at all gets to grips with it.
I need to be here a bit more. Hi guys, my name's James. I'm Sim UK's brother. I'm a simulation novice, but I've been a biker for 6 years. Started with an Aprilia Sport City 125, had a Honda CBF 125, passed my test, went on to a Kawasaki ER500, had a Kawasaki GPZ 500, went on to a classic Yamaha Diversion 600, and I've now got my current bike, which is a Honda CBF Hornet 600. Love it to pieces. Basically, I'm coming at the HS2 today from a biker's perspective. Never really been into simulation games, as I say. It's not really my cup of tea. I've never found them to be that realistic, but I'm hoping maybe my perceptions will be changed today, we'll see. But I'm here to give you my honest thoughts and feedback as a biker, so let's take a look and see how we get on. Is this the 1 down, 5 up?
Yep. Try to change your gear.
And we're in first. Exciting time, happy days.
You're in first?
Yeah. Neutral light's gone off on the dashboard.
Oh.
Trust me.
See, biker guy.
You know what I'm talking about. Right. Get prepared. One of the worst laps you've ever seen. Coming up to a first corner now, God knows which way it's going to go. Let's, left the change down way too late there, and that's, fuck it. Oh, what a start. Tart's probably the more appropriate word. How do I get myself back on the track, right?
any time that I really look into the distance as I would on a real bike and try and just lean into those corners and anticipate things, I'm a lot smoother, but it's getting past the fact that it's a simulation, and that's something I'm just not used to, you know, so I'm constantly analysing my own performance when I should be focused on the track. I'm sure many of you experienced GP bikes riders out there will be doing. I'm starting to get a bit more of a feel for it now. I mean, again, it's not the best when it comes to racing. So, okay, well, much like a drunk man staggering in the darkness, I've just about got myself around that track. We'll ignore the time because
You won't overlap, are you?
no, well, will I not? Okay. Oh, of course, it starts on the next, doesn't it? Yeah. God, it's been a long time since I've done anything like this. Good.
Nice corner.
Tell you what. Oh, thanks, mate. It's so weird. I mean, oh god, you can see that, I'm a terrible rider, but this thing does feel realistic in comparison to a real bike. I suppose the only thing you don't really have that you'd have on a real bike, I mean, A, there's the vibration, but you know, you can live without that as long as you can control the thing. B, I think the thing I noticed is you don't have the feel of that torque. I mean, the throttle has been very well engineered, if that's the right word. I mean, you can feel there's a lot of resistance there because you don't have that torque. It in fact reminds me a lot of how my 125 felt to ride. It's sort of such low power that you don't even notice the thing half the time. A little bit better. Saved that very stingily. Oh, this feels great. I mean, apart from the times when I crash or run off the track, it feels good. It feels like a real bike. Oh, did not anticipate that.
That was nearly a fully clean lap.
Good. Liking having the actual gears, I think that's a big plus for me. Oh, screwed that up.
seeing the corner markers?
No, I'm not actually. Where are they?
So if you see corner markers on the left of the track,
Yeah.
you clamp down 200, 150, 150. That means you've got a right hand corner coming up.
Drop the bike.
And you need to start thinking about braking around 150 if you're going fast, 100 if you're going.
I think staying on for as long as I did there is probably quite an achievement by my standards. I don't think I came off since that hill start, which is pretty good considering how shocking I am in this game. I ended up riding on a track, evidently. I have to give you guys a sort of, from a bike perspective, it's the whole reason I've come in here is to give you guys a fair review of the hardware I'm using. And I think that one of the things I would comment on is the fact that you've got these foot pedals, but they do move around a little bit. I guess that would be the only thing that makes this quite tricky for me. You've got to learn to keep the pegs where they are, but as stated earlier in the video, this is a development model, and obviously you progress to that ride-on system, you won't have that problem. But certainly with this, I feel like something to weigh down the foot pegs. You can probably see in the feet cam, so we're calling it. I don't know what I was thinking of breaking that. Yeah, could do with something to really weight the foot pegs. Brake or change gear too vigorously, and the thing has a tendency to lift a bit. But once you get the hang of dealing with that, I mean, it's just great. It just feels fantastic.
Good lap.
Entire lap?
Yeah, just not 25 seconds off your previous fastest lap.
Didn't imagine that then. First full lap without falling off. Woohoo! 6 years of biking, just managed it.
That was well taken.
Well recovered, I think is the accurate term there. think, yeah, there's too much just fantastic engineering in this thing for it not to be used for something more than a games controller. And I'm sorry for all you simmers if me saying that is slightly offensive, because I'm quite new to your world, but certainly this can have some real practical application if it's funded by the right people. If we can get people on board with this, it's very realistic. I mean, I remember doing my CBT and I did it in a big town in Hampshire, and didn't do that, but I remember how terrified I was on the day. And I think having something like this can certainly, before you get out and you've got the danger of traffic, can make you aware of it. And I thinking about it, because I had to do the theory test twice, because I've got my bike license and I've got my car license. You have to do like a hazard perception element these days. Saying these days, because you've got to do it. But you have to watch a quick video and click when you see a hazard. Now, you add the element of having something like this in that type of video scenario, you have got something that's 100 times more accurate, but still teaches you the important lessons. I certainly think there is potential for this to have practical application.
Hi again, guys, it's James here again on behalf of Sim UK. So it's been a long day, about 10 hours in fact, of filming and testing on the HS2. So I just wanted to round things off by giving you a few of my thoughts and some feedback on how I found the HS2 in testing. So I have to say, before I trialled the HS2 today, I was a bit dubious about simulation games. They're not really for me. It's not really something I've ever got into. I'm not a big gamer, and therefore I've never really been a big fan of simulations. But I have to say, the combination of GP bikes and this fantastic piece of hardware in the HS2, I found something that really, in the end, after hours of practicing, became very enjoyable. And I think it does give you a genuine real-life biking experience. Now, I don't have a point for comparison because I've not had much experience with simulations, and I don't know, what other things are out there to say, it's good compared with this or not so good compared with that. But for an experience for someone who is new to this type of thing, to be able to come into it and, okay, I didn't handle the track so well, but the controls felt natural. I got a real sense of, this is a genuine biking experience. And what it made me think is that if I could have one of these for my own, it would just allow me to breeze through those horrible winter months where we don't get to get out on the bikes so much. Obviously, I think with such a precious piece of hardware, I'd keep this away from the kids. But that said, I don't think being breakable is an issue here. I think we've got, you're dealing with rock solid materials, no flimsy plastic. This is genuine bike parts, metal, very well constructed. It's a decent weight. For portability, it's quite good. I like the clip-on, clip-off system. Obviously that's very handy, particularly if you've got it in a location where you need to do work and other things, like a desk, for instance. It's not lightweight, obviously, because the build quality's there at 100%, and so, it's got to have that real weight to it. But I think that adds to the whole aesthetic of the HS2, and actually, all of that considered, it's still very portable and very easy to move around. So you can tell that this thing's been built with the user in mind, which is really nice. The first thing you notice when you look at the HS2 is just how fantastic it looks, the way that, true craftsmanship has gone into this. You've got genuine bike parts, a nice set of aftermarket handlebars here, good grips, accurate levers, on the clutch and the brake. You've got this fantastic carbon finish here. Every minute detail has gone into the housing and the look and feel of the whole thing. It's just fantastic. And I think, considering again this is a development model, the HS2 Pro really does look incredible, and so does this. And I mean, for instance, you've got these foot pegs here. Now, obviously, the craftsmanship on these, again, brilliant, but these are actually created using a 3D printer. With the HS2 Pro model, you've actually got the genuine foot pegs of a GSXR 1000R. Now, if you've got that bike, or at least if you've ridden it, or you know of similar models, you know, if you trust the design and build quality of those things, then obviously you've got to trust the HS2 Pro, because you know, you're talking about genuine bike parts that have been built into this thing. This is obviously the development model, as we've said, but if you've got yourself an HS2 Pro and it's there in your living room or wherever, where you got your mates coming around, it's just really pleasing to the eye, and it's going to look fantastic. It earns you a lot of respect. In terms of build quality and aesthetics, really, really good. Give it top marks for that. Well, I think that in terms of practical application, there is definitely room in the market for the HS2. I'd really like to see it put forward in some kind of training capacity. I think that, you know, once you've had a go on this thing, you can't deny that there are you know, a lot of possibilities for it and a lot to gain from it being used in the training of new riders. I think for me personally, when I did my CBT and went out on the road for the first time, it was, you know, a pretty scary experience. If I'd had something where I could, you know, perceive hazards and learn the techniques, more importantly, of riding the bike beforehand, it would have helped me a lot with my confidence. And maybe, you know, for those bikers that go a bit crazy and get out and make mistakes, perhaps making those mistakes in a simulated environment would be a good thing. I found going out and doing my CBT was a very scary thing, having never been out on the road before. And I was lucky enough not to make any serious mistakes, but it does happen. And I think that obviously being able to practice in a simulated environment could really benefit those new riders. I think that definitely is something that should be looked into. One thing I found from playing the game and being on a track was that as a biker with no real track riding experience, it improved my ability to really corner that sort of steady progression of the throttle as you come out through a sharp bend and all that kind of thing. It really helped with that, and I actually felt like I improved my own riding, and I've been riding for a long time. So I certainly think the realism that you get with the HS2, it certainly has, you know, its uses beyond simulation and beyond gaming. I was surprised by the HS2. I think I really came into this thinking, well, how realistic can a simulation really be? And actually being able to sit at something like this has obviously, you know, it improves anything I've ever experienced before tenfold. And yeah, I think full credit to IASystems for how well this thing's been put together. It was an enjoyable experience, and I think that the HS2 has helped to change the way that I perceive simulator games, and, you know, maybe it's opened my mind to other simulation games in the future. I have become a bit of a fair weather biker, so my bike's actually being stored at the moment for the winter, and it's really made me desperate for the spring to come back around, because it's just been great fun riding today and getting to grips with the HS2. I think having tested the development model, I think I'm still kind of on the fence with whether I would purchase one. I think it simply comes down to my own personal preference and the fact that I'm not the biggest gamer and I'm not that into simulations, but I am being swung over slightly, and I think if I'd had a bit more time to get to grips with it, who knows? I think if the price was right, maybe I'd have one in my home. But what I'd say is if I did have that extra time, if I was into simulations, if I was into games in general, I think this would be the first thing that I'd be wanting to get my hands on. It's fantastic, it's great fun, it's realistic, it feels great, it looks great, and I just think if you're a biker, you're into bikes, and you're also into gaming and you're into simulation, then this is just a must-have. It's fantastic.